So you've got these four horns. These are these four kings. And this is what verse 9 says. And out of one of them came a rather small horn, which grew exceedingly great toward the south, toward the east, and toward the beautiful land. It grew up to the heavenly lights, and some of the lights, that is, some of the stars, it threw down to earth, and it trampled them. It even exalted itself to be equal with the commander of the army, and it removed the regular sacrifice from him, and the place of his sanctuary was overthrown. And because of an offense, the army will be given to the horn along with the regular sacrifice, and it will hurl truth to the ground and do as it pleases and be successful. Then I heard a holy one speaking, and another holy one said to that particular one who was speaking, how long will the vision about the regular sacrifice apply, while the offense causes horror, so as to allow both the sanctuary and the army to be trampled? And he said to me, for 2,300 evenings and mornings, then the sanctuary will be properly restored. All right. So we get this little horn that grows exceedingly great, and you're already seeing, like, this is feeling like the Antichrist from the previous one, right?
Yeah.
But this is where it's not. This is a type of the Antichrist. And like with the imagery, you could see how this feels very apocalyptic, right? This is the very end of times. But this little horn that grows exceedingly great is thought to be Antiochus IV, who comes from it's Seleucus' line. So one of the four things. So he's from Seleucus dynasty, right? He would end up ruling Syria, and he would also rule Israel. But he would fight Ptolemy's group, who Ptolemy ends up in Egypt, right?
Okay.
And they end up fighting back and forth over Israel.
Okay.
Right? And they're continually, not because they want Israel, but because they're fighting each other, and that's between them.
In the way, yeah.
Right? So they keep going back and forth. So when he talks about the beautiful land, he's talking about Israel.
Right.
Right? Now, Antiochus IV would title himself Epiphanes, which means illustrious. So he was Antiochus Epiphanes. But the ancient Jews would call him Epimanes, which means madman. Because he was diabolical.
Yeah.
I think, like, if anybody fits the concept of an antichrist here, Antiochus IV would be one of these people, right? So Daniel is so spot on here with this because, like, some of the stuff that we see here. So he casts down the stars, right? And he tramples them. The stars are representation of the people of Christ, or the Jewish people, right? Yeah. He exalts himself to be equal with the commander, capital C, of the army, which is God. Well, he calls himself illustrious, right? Mm-hmm. He titles himself illustrious. He removes the regular sacrifices. This is something that happens under Antiochus, is he commits the abomination of desolation, which ends sacrifice in the Jewish temple.
Okay.
Right. Now, as all of this is happening, like, this is so, like, when you line this up with what historically happens, this is so spot on that there are critics that would say that this means Daniel had to written this afterwards, right?
Yeah.
If you think about, like, how the ancient world did apocryphal literature, they often would take something that happened and then explain how their gods were part of it.
Yeah.
And how it showed their greatness. Yeah. But this is claiming to be before that.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's really important for us to know.
Right.
Like, this was prophesied before, not after.
Yeah. I mean, just in the same way that Daniel, he didn't just interpret Nebuchadnezzar's dream. He told him what his dream was. And there was a reason that Nebuchadnezzar wanted to do that, because he didn't want him to just make something up and make it work, that as the other sorcerers and those other guys did. This was 100%. This can only come from a godly vision and a prophecy that comes straight from God.
Right. So this is what happens with Antiochus IV is described also in 1 Maccabees. And it is estimated that he would end up killing more than 100,000 Jews, or at the very least, when you tally up how many were killed and how many were put into slavery, it's well over 100,000, right?
Yeah.
And so the army, which in this, when they're talking about the army, they're talking about the people of God and the Jews, they're given over to him, right? God lets this happen.
Yeah.
It's part of his plan at this point. But like we already know that the chosen people are in Babylon right now because they broke covenant, right?
Yeah.
God allows these things to happen to them over and over again because they keep breaking covenant. But then he uses those things for his purposes.
Yeah.
Right. And then what happens is he actually ends up setting up, and we'll get into this more maybe later. He sets up in the sanctuary of the temple a idol for Zeus, but it's the Syrian Zeus, so it's actually like Baal.
Okay.
And he sacrifices a pig on the altar there. This is a huge issue.
Yeah.
This is like
An unclean animal.
So this is like incredibly offensive. But this act of setting up this idol and sacrificing this pig there, this is the abomination of desolation. It causes the temple to become desolate, and it offsets 2,300 sacrifices, which is about 7 years worth of sacrifices.
Yeah.
And that aligns with Antiochus's reign over Jerusalem. So this 2,300 evenings and mornings before the sanctuary will be properly restored, that is what occurs with the temple basically being desolate at that time, right? So as I've already said, Antiochus also mirrors the Antichrist with all of this imagery, right?
Yeah.
He is a boastful horn that humbles three others because he's one of those four kingdoms, but he's
Right. The boastful one, the one that's speaking a lot of offensive things. Yep.
He desecrates the temple. Like he is set against God's people.
Yeah.
Like if you read about him, you find out, man, he did not like the Jews.
Yeah.
And he was also very responsible for Hellenizing the Jews, which means he really was like, you have to give up your beliefs and adopt Greek beliefs.
Yeah.
Like that was his mark on the Jewish people. So this is like Antiochus the Fourth is terrible when it comes to this history.
Yeah.